Do you ever feel like you're drowning in your emotions as a result of your partner's mood, or maybe something that happened with your husband or in your love life in general? Like the weight of your feelings is making it harder and harder in your relationship. And usually it's because of something that happened with your significant other. Hi everyone, Mireille Nicole here. In today's video, I want to share with you 3 guaranteed ways to emotionally detach from your partner in a loving, warm, and productive way. So in relationships, we often find ourselves immersed in our partner's emotions, feelings, mood swings, and we ride the wave of their own happiness or sadness or frustration, whatever the case may be. But what if we could learn to detach and swim back to the top and keep our own heads above water? That way we can show up better in our relationship and also in other areas of our own life. That way we don't let our relationship or what's going on in our marriage impact all the other areas of our life so that we can stay in our power. When we emotionally detach, we get to learn and understand our own selves better. We get clarity on what it is that actually triggers us and what do we specifically need, instead of always being enmeshed with the other person and only caring about what they need and leading us to believe that we need our partners to be okay or a certain way for us to feel good. That's when we get ultimately detached from our own selves. So when we can detach emotionally from other people in a warm, loving way, we can get back to who we truly are and start showing up in a powerful way in a relationship, which will ultimately also help our partner. So emotional detachment in relationships is not about shutting down. It's not about being cold-hearted. It's about finding that beautiful balance between the two, between caring, being empathetic, and also while maintaining who we are, what we need, and really being connected to our own emotions. But how do we actually do it? How do we let go of this need to control, fix, or be completely entangled in our partner's emotional world? First, we need to recognize that we can't fix or control another person. We can be there for them and we can show up powerfully, and ultimately that's going to help them from drowning in their own emotions. The more strong we can be, the more we can be there for our partners. And sometimes that might sound counterintuitive, that might sound cold, but it's the whole idea of putting your oxygen mask on first. Ultimately, we can only control our own emotions and our actions. And by understanding this gives us a lot more a break. By accepting this, we allow ourselves a break from needing to constantly try to fix someone else or absorbing the other person's emotions. When it comes to seeing your partner very much in their feelings and maybe struggling in that area, the best thing that you can do, the most productive things you can do for the both of you and for yourself, is to observe rather than absorb. When we really start absorbing our partner's emotions, that's when we fall into the world of codependency. And you'll never hear codependency in a conversation about healthy relationships, other than to say that to have a healthy relationship, you want to avoid codependency. Now, some relationship experts might disagree with me. They might say, when you're in a relationship with someone else, it's just natural. Like science shows that you take on kind of not the emotions, but they've done tests where they can see that, your heart rate, your blood pressure is intimately connected to your partner and the situation with your partner too. So at the end of the day, we are connected like that, emotionally, biologically, physiologically. But that's not to say just because that happened, I would argue that doesn't mean that that's the best thing in that situation. Just because your partner feels, depressed about something doesn't mean, and maybe you start feeling depressed because of that, does not mean that's the most productive approach for the both of you. We want to have that healthy boundary of not letting someone else's energy or emotions come into ours. So the next step is to set healthy boundaries, set healthy internal boundaries in terms of what energy you're going to let in and what energy that you're going to allow other people to keep for themselves, right? I love this tip that a client shared with me recently about just kind of picturing, some sort of like yellow light around yourself. Maybe you can actually visualize something that kind of protects you from other people's energy, if that's a way that you kind of from an NLP perspective way, right? If that's something, if you're very visual, if that's something that can help you in terms of really setting that boundary, or maybe you're very auditory and you need to give yourself a pep talk about, hey Mireille, those aren't your emotions. You don't have to process them like they are processing them. How can you show up for your partner instead? How can you just be there and listen? How can you be empathetic in the sense of really believing what they're going through and listening to what they're going through, but without taking that energy on? It's okay to let another person process their emotions. Just being there is the biggest gift you can give them. And by trying to control someone's emotions or change or fix someone's emotions, really, you're hindering the growth for both of you. You are hindering your own growth out of a codependent tendencies, and you're hindering your partner's growth in terms of being able to manage their own emotions and master their emotional intelligence. And the last guaranteed way to emotionally detach is going to be by practicing a lot of self-care. And that is about focusing the attention back to you, bringing it back to you constantly. And this is going to be a work in progress. It's not something that happens overnight, but the more you can focus on taking care of yourself and how you show up and how you behave and what you bring to the relationship, both of you are going to benefit from that from an emotional perspective. So the best thing you can do is prioritize your own happiness, prioritize your own health, prioritize your own emotional needs. Take some time to step out in nature if you have to, call a friend, recharge, and really nurture yourself. By putting yourself first, you can be better equipped to handle and to support your partner's emotional needs from a place of wholeness. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by the emotional currents of your relationship, it could be time to take a step back and really focus on you and apply these 3 steps to emotionally detach in your relationship in a loving and productive way. Dive into your own self-awareness, establish healthy boundaries, and really start focusing on your own self-care. And remember, emotionally detaching does not mean being cold-hearted. It means finding that beautiful balance. It's about loving yourself and your partner with a deep sense of understanding and compassion. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any questions, put them down below. If you'd like any support with this, make sure to click on the application link in the description below. Let's have a chat and see what's going on in your own situation. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.